Hey everyone, welcome back to Shantae Moore Money Mondays. So today is actually a story time video. In my line of work, it's not always peaches and cream. I post a lot about financial, tips and resources and things that folks can think about and do. And it's really frustrating when, people have I guess the wherewithal to challenge, you know, my recommendations or my 15 plus years of experience in the financial industry. Sometimes folks need to understand that, I've been doing this for a while. I've seen a lot. I've worked with all types of people, seen all kind of situations. So when I'm having a conversation with you about something and I'm making a recommendation, it's because I know what I'm talking about and I'm trying to help resolve a problem for you before the problem even happens. Because when we're dealing with money, when we're dealing with health, when we're dealing with life, those are three things that are very hard to predict. You really just have to plan for them in advance. And I was helping one of my colleagues with one of his clients who was a little older. They did not, there was a language barrier, and he just asked me to go meet with them face to face to talk to them about, we knew that they had some life insurance issues. They hadn't met with the life insurance agent in nearly, literally 20 years since they got their policy. The policy was basically on track to cancel, to lapse on its own. And in addition to that, because of, present day health issues, we knew that they needed long term care. And on top of that, we always talk to, all our clients about estate planning, but especially them because they were, they're becoming more vulnerable. And these were just three things that we had to talk about. So I go meet with these folks, and right away they just kind of really dismiss these important things. Like I was talking about long-term care insurance, and I'm like, if you get sick and you need help, you need to understand that Medicare will not pay for a lot of these things. Your health insurance, actually, they're not even working, they're retired. But just so you know, if you have health insurance at the job, a lot of folks think that their health insurance will take care of, long term care needs. They really don't. They don't take care of anything past 30 days in the hospital. Um, and so they were just, it was just frustrating because they were like, oh, we don't need to worry about that. The husband was already sick and the wife was kind of like taking care of him day by day. And I'm like, well, what if you get sick? Who's going to take care of you? He can't. She's like, oh, I'm not worried about that. Or my kids will come take care of me. I'm like, but do you know that your children, for someone, first of all, if you've never taken care of a loved one, I'm talking about like every single day going to their home, helping them get dressed, helping them get out of bed, helping them bathe, helping them feed themselves, helping them, sit on the couch or get from the bed into the couch, helping them, put on their clothes. Like that's a full-time job. And I think it's irresponsible and selfish for you to think that that's your children's responsibility. Now, forgive me, I recognize, we should honor their mother and father, absolutely. But if you can plan in advance to pay a professional and have access to policies and resources to pay a professional to do those things for you, then why don't you do it? Especially if you have the financial capability. Like, don't put that burden on your family. I've seen it. It happened in my own family to my own loved ones, and it's not an easy job. Caretakers are worn down. Oftentimes, they don't get paid. They have to quit their own jobs because it's literally a full time job. And they were just like, "Oh, we don't need it. We don't need it. We don't need it." I was like, "Okay, fine. Hope that works out." And secondly, to that point, a lot of people, they might say, oh, well, I have money, I'll pay for it on my own instead of just getting like an insurance policy who would pay for it directly. Um, you have no idea how much it costs to pay for, a nursing home, or if you want your own room. And most people don't even want to go to a nursing home nowadays. They want to stay at home and receive this type of care and have some dignity. I wouldn't want my child looking at my private parts and washing those areas for me. I'm okay with a professional doing that if it needed. And people just have no idea the amount. I mean, you're talking about six figures pretty much to pay for someone to take care of you, you can quickly deplete any savings or any money or wealth that you've accumulated to that point. All right, let me get off of that. So the second thing that I talked to them about was estate planning. Estate planning is having a will, a trust, power of attorney documents in place. Living will, which is if you were like on life support, or if you wanted to be artificially, fed food or water, or do not resuscitate, all those things. Anyway, um, I started talking to them about, okay, well, let's talk about estate planning, because, they're an older couple, they own a home, and they they basically said, well, we don't need those things because my kids will just figure it out. And I was like, okay, in the state of Illinois, that's not how it works. First of all, if you have no estate planning documents, or if their names are not on the deed, which I don't also recommend either, they will not just have automatic access to your home. In their minds, they were like, oh, well, they could sell the house, they could do whatever they want, they can get the money from the house. And I'm like, but they don't even have the legal authority to even do that. They won't have no legal authority to call your mortgage company and say, hey, how much do they owe? How do we sell this house? They won't even have that. They will have to go to court. They will likely have to enter into probate, which can take time. We're talking 9 to 12 months probably. They will have to pay an attorney, thousands of dollars in fees just to even get the letter of, the letter of execution, or the letter of executor, to even take that document to financial companies and such, so that they can just finalize your affairs. We're not even nowhere near talking about the house. And they was like, oh, they'll just figure it out. I'm like, you should know that that's not how it works, because I'm all for having these hard conversations, but I'm like, that's not how it works. Like, I know you're dead and gone at that point, but how many people have we seen? I see it all the time, where a loved one owns a home, they pass away, there's no will, no trust, there's nobody else on the deed, and this family thinks like, oh, we could just do whatever we want with this house. No, you have no legal right to that house. You can't sell it. You better at least hopefully pay the taxes so they don't come after you. And unfortunately, these people, just a lot of folks don't know better. They don't know what they don't know, and they don't know to get the right documents in place. So anyway, I could walk away. Ultimately, we came to a compromise on whatever life insurance they want. I can't force them to do anything. I can't force them to sign any paperwork. All I can do, which is my job, which is to professionally tell you and have a conversation about these things, about what I know are gaps in your financial situation. For that couple, that older couple, those two areas were absolutely gaps, and I just pray to God. Unfortunately, I'm gonna pray for their kids. I'm gonna pray for their adult children, because their parents refuse to have proper conversations about these real matters that will happen. It will happen sometime, when one of them gets sick or both of them get sick and ultimately pass away. Their kids are going to be so frustrated because mom and dad would not take our advice and do the proper planning that they wanted. That literally mom and dad said, whatever, my kids would just figure it out. So, I love the work that I do, but at the end of the day, I walked away from that family saying, you know what, Shantae, you did your job. You talked about what you should have talked about. You didn't just sweep it under the rug. You didn't ignore it. And was it an easy conversation to have? No, it's not. I mean, I don't like telling folks like, this is what's going to happen to your money, your house, whatever, because you didn't do any proper planning, because you didn't look at these things, because you didn't try to address these matters. At the end of the day, I did my job. I had the conversation. Now, whether they take heed to that advice or not, that's totally up to them. I can just walk away and say, you know what? I tried. I did my job, and I'm going to document it, because I don't want nobody to come back saying, oh, Shantae didn't talk to us about these things. But anyway, a long story time, but I can't, it's just so important. And, I just want you all to know, if you're sitting with a professional, again, we know what we're doing. We have licenses, we have experience. We work with hundreds of families in so many different situations. We've seen it all. Take heed to what we're telling you. Take heed to the information that I'm bringing to you, because I'm not sitting here talking about it for my sake. My family's good. They don't have to worry about nothing. If I die tomorrow, they're good. But we're honestly bringing this information to you because we know it will help you.